Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Profile Show. If you're just joining us for the first time, a very warm welcome. This show is all about the person behind the title. It's really about the stories that shape our guests. I'm your host, Kaddy Jammeh, and with me in studio this evening is my co-host, Lamin Jammeh, who is also part of the producing team. But today we've got 𝐿𝐵𝐺𝐻𝐼𝐾 Jammeh producing in the background. So thank you. Hello, Lamin.
Hello, good evening, Kaddy. How are you?
I'm good. And I'm very, very excited. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Excited for our
Good.
guest tonight.
Wow. I'm very, very thrilled because today we have got one of Gambia's finest, I call her. She's one of the Gambia's most inspiring trailblazers. This evening, she'll be talking to us all about her career, her personal life, her journey, she's been through, and also just have some advice out there. In 2024, last year, she was celebrated as Woman of the Year in the Gambia, a testament to her remarkable impact in STEM and tech leadership in the Gambia. As CEO of 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐢𝐵 Global, she leads one of the country's foremost tech company, delivering cutting-edge solutions across health, education, agriculture, and digital innovation. She's also the visionary co-founder of 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐈𝐋𝐄, a digital financial platform empowering small and medium-sized enterprises. Her influence extends beyond entrepreneurship. She chairs the Sector Skills Council for ICT and contributes as a member of TVET, shaping the future of tech education and workforce development. Her accolades speak volumes. She's a recipient of the Pan-African Changemaker Order of Merit at the 8th Pan-African Humanitarian Investment Summit in November 2023. And she's also been recognized by Forbes Africa and Jorjoh Africa as one of the top 200 young Africans transforming the continent. There's one word to sum her up. She's awesome. Please welcome Dr. Jorjoh Ndure-Tambedou to the Profile Show.
Hi everyone. Hi Kaddy. Hi Lamin. Thanks for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Hi Jorjoh. Welcome to the Profile Show. I hope you are as excited as we are to have this conversation.
I am humbled to be here.
Good, and we are pleased to have you on board.
Welcome to the show, Jorjoh.
Thank you, Lamin. Thanks for having me.
So Jorjoh, just to kick us off, let's get to know you a little bit. I know I have given a little bit like insight on who you are, what you've done, but let's get to know the person as a mother, a wife, a sister, an auntie, a friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so thanks, Kaddy, once again. As you mentioned, I'm a mother. I am a sister. I am a wife. I'm a mother of 3 children. My oldest is 16, and then my youngest is 5. She just turned 5, but she's going on 30. They're my world. I think before anything, I guess my biggest achievement in life is being a mother to my children and raising future change makers, I would say. I'm the CEO of 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐢𝐵 Global, as you mentioned. I'm a different kind of leader, I would say. I live differently through empathy, through innovation, but also authenticity. What really drives me is seeking knowledge, but not only seeking knowledge, but how can I share that knowledge and use it to lift my community? I guess in a nutshell, that's me.
Great, thank you. And I think what you just said there, what as a leader you drive your empathy. I think I've witnessed that. Having had interactions with you, so you're totally different type of leader, which is awesome. So Jorjoh, you grew up in the Gambia, did you? As in your early years in the Gambia before traveling abroad. Like, are you able to share some of the journey with us, as in growing growing up in Gambia during that time and then moving abroad to further your education?
Yes. So I grew up in the Gambia. I was actually born in Senegal.
Oh
My dad
wow.
was working there. Yes, my dad was working there at the time. So I came back to Gambia at the age of 1 or 2.
Okay.
So went to school, so Methodist Nursery School. Then I went to Ndaus for primary 1 and primary 2. Then I went to Marina from primary 3. Um, so I graduated from Marina in 2001. Anyone that knew me at the time would say that I think academics were the top of my list, right? I was a very academic person, but also I was quite multifaceted. I was also Miss Marina at the time, so I was interested in fashion. I was interested in sports, so I was the MVP for the basketball team as well as tennis and football. So a lot of people don't know that about me.
I don't even know that.
um, yes. So I love basketball actually, and I even played when I went to the UK. So I left for the UK when I was 16 or 17, and going to the UK, I knew I always had to come back because my dad made it clear that you're going to seek knowledge and you have to come back and come back to your country and give back. So he actually gave us a one-way ticket back, which was an open ticket
Yeah.
when we all left. So my sisters went to the US. I went to the UK. I went for sixth form college at Sir George Monarchs in Chingford, and at that time, every opportunity I had, like for the summers, I'll spend it at Oxford University, doing summer camps, maths boot camps. I was also at Queen Mary University for another summer doing a placement, and actually made a discovery in science at the age of 17 at Queen Mary University. And my second discovery was at the age of, this was my third year in university in neuroscience. I also made another scientific discovery. And so I stayed on. I got married in the UK. When I got pregnant with my first child, I thought I wanted to come back home, but also my dad was pressuring me to come back at that point. And so I came back just to first explore whether I wanted to come back and do some of my PhD work in the Gambia. And so I was at the MRC for a year, went back, had my baby, then finally decided to come back to raise my child here, but also give back. So when I stayed in the Gambia, I worked in research, in medical
Yeah.
research. However, that Eurocentric view of doing research for me was not sufficient for the Gambia. I felt that I needed to do more. I would
Yeah.
leave the lab and I would see a lot of sick people waiting to be seen. I would interact with my people and I saw a lot of abused women. I saw a lot of graduates that don't have enough skills or don't have the grades to go to university. And I think that was an inflection point in my life.
Right. That's quite moving actually. Thanks for sharing that with us. Lamin?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Jorjoh Ndure-Tambedou. Sitting here listening to you, I'm impressed. I mean, this show is all about inspiring the younger generation. That's why we bring people on this show who have actually achieved, and they can share their story with a view to inspiring the younger generation. Sitting here listening to you, it was obvious that from a very early age you knew exactly what you wanted. You worked for it. But for me, the question is, in that moment, the childhood period, what really, do you have any memory that actually inspired you to really go and focus on doing what you did to be where you are today?
Mhm. So I think so. My mom passed away when I was very young. I just turned 7,
Yeah.
and she had 4 girls.
Sorry to
Can
hear
you hear
that.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So she had 4 girls, and she passed away when I just turned 7. My younger sister was 3. So my father raised us. My father raised us to be bold. My father raised us to be curious. I remember at a very young age, there was a particular time I just went to his house and I said, "Suma mageda ma touch security." And he's like, "Why?" I said, "Dama touch security because Gambia amut fun fair, so dama ko touch def ko fun fair." He laughed and said, "Nyan nala lel, like all my life I've been built. I built this house. Buko touch, build sa fun fair, rekte buko touch." And another time I also remember telling him, "I'm not gonna sleep indoors today." I built a tent outside made of cardboard, and I decided that I'm going to sleep in this tent tonight because I was actually upset about something. And he spent a lot of time convincing me, "Jonya nala, duga sil, bulfanan chibiti." He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to allow me to be curious. He didn't have to allow me to just be myself. I think a lot of the times our young girls, they're stifled. In the school, they can't question. They're not allowed to experiment. They're not allowed to fail. They're not allowed to express themselves. So I was lucky enough to be in an environment where my dad empowered me and allowed me to be myself. And he found it funny, the type of child I was. But he encouraged me to just be myself and be bold and never, dim that light that I had. So like my 16-year-old currently, now when she does exams, I understand how my dad felt. Because every time I came out of the exam, my dad was the first one there asking me how I did, knowing that I would come back with good grades. My friends always said, "I'm sure every time after open day, you get gifts from your dad." For me, I didn't expect gifts. I just wanted to make my dad proud. And that stuck with me. Even when I went to the UK, I did not want to get involved in a lot of things because I didn't want to disappoint him. So I think a lot of the times we think that it's only the mothers that have a role to play in their daughters' upbringing and shaping who they become in the future. But I think the fathers have a key role to play. I didn't have a mother, but he was my mother. He was my friend. And sometimes people say, "Yan sempa dengan mel ni kom ay tubab." I'm like, okay, what does that mean? If being come ay tubab means that he was a very caring father, then that's okay. Let's take what's good and embrace that. Because all 4 of us are very hardworking women. And I think it's because of how he empowered us and allowed us to be ourselves. But I think the fact that I did not have a mother with me, raising me, it made me now want to mother other girls and women. A lot of the times we radiate some of the things that we went through or negative things that we went through, but we can radiate it in an effective way. I did not have a mother, but why can't I be that mother that I to other people?
Yeah, that's that's
fantastic.
yeah.
That's quite moving. I mean, losing a parent, especially a mother, who is very key, very important in the upbringing of children. It happens. Nobody knows when death is gonna knock on your door. You lost your mum 7. Your dad stepped in, become the mum and the dad. In bringing you, shaping what turns out to be great parenting. But at some point, like I'll give you an example. I always wanted to be a lawyer when I was in the Gambia before I traveled. I then traveled, to study early childhood education. But when I got to the UK, I actually started studying computing. So I'm sure growing up, you would have had an idea of what you wanted to do, and then at some point, something changed. What would you say was the turning point for you to really move you to where you are? Doing, instead of doing that, you ended up doing that. What was the turning point?
Sure. So I think from a very young age, my dad used to call me human rights fighter. I I was the one that would be in the unfinished building with my friends, living in the unfinished, who lives in the unfinished building, playing with her, eating the food that she makes from a tin, a tomato paste tin. I was that girl. I was the one that spoke for those that weren't bold enough to speak for
Mhm.
themselves. So I've always had that in me where I felt I don't like seeing injustice, but I also always wanted to share my knowledge and help other people as well.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we undermine how people don't have a choice because they don't have the knowledge, or people don't have choice because of poverty. People don't have choice because they don't have the privilege.
Mhm.
So if Allah made us fortunate enough to have those, we need, our responsibility is to share it and lift other people through that. So I remember when I finished my PhD, I mentioned, leaving the lab. You have all these discoveries. You've made all these discoveries. I wrote my PhD with a new mechanism of action. Have my papers, have citations, but in reality, who did I really help? Um, I think if I lived in the UK, I would have still be doing what I was doing. But being in the Gambia and looking around, a lot of us, we don't look around.
Yeah.
We're in our own space. As long as we're
Bubble.
comfortable, our families are comfortable, it doesn't matter. So I started questioning myself. However, I went into INSYS as a consultant. So I have background in data analytics. So I'm a data expert. So it was through using data that I was able to develop analytics dashboard that I saw that was being used by government to inform policy. And I was now seeing a tangible impact of my work, but also being able to mentor and to mentor people around me. As when I joined as a consultant, I was also I joined the Sector Skills Council.
Mhm.
And when I joined the Sector Skills Council, after a few months, they nominated me as their chair, and I was able to develop curriculum. That was the first industry-led curriculum within the sector. So, but then I had to do a lot of soul searching because I was supposed to leave to do my fellowship.
Mhm.
So people that are close to me know this story. My inflection point actually came when it was a Saturday morning, and I was just drinking my tea. I live in a story building, and then I saw a man who collects the garbage in a deserted, um, unfinished building. He was summoning to a young child, a young girl who was around 9 or 10, to go to him, and the girl went. And I rushed down. My husband was sleeping. So I rushed down and I went to the house opposite this unfinished building. There was a military guy there. And I asked him, like, come and help me. There's this girl that's being abused next to my house. Because I didn't want to go in there alone. So he went with me, but by the time we were coming, they were leaving, and there was a crowd that was gathering, and I didn't want her to be victimized. So I just let it go. But I went to the police, I went to the imam, nothing was done. I approached the guy, I went to the neighborhood, the ones in the neighborhood, and I told them about it, and I told them to ask the girls to stay away from this man. But he's still roaming our street. But it made me realize that I was in Gambia, but I wasn't actually living in the real Gambia. I saw the girl a few weeks after. I approached the girl and I asked her, "Do you remember me?" Because I wanted to help her. She said, "No." But she wouldn't look me in the eye. I knew she remembered me. But it just made me realize that, there's a generation of girls and women who don't have a voice, who can't stick up for themselves. What really
Mhm.
bothered me was why she didn't say no. I had an encounter when I was very young, when I went to a friend's house. It was dark, and the brother was seated in front of the TV watching inappropriate movies. He called me to him, I ran and I said, no, my ustaz said that's not acceptable. And I ran all the way to my house. But then you see the difference between myself and that girl is I was empowered at that age. She wasn't. I couldn't influence the police, but I decided from that day, when I searched, I did my soul searching, I knew I had to do something. And the way other people do advocacy, other people give charity, other people are activists. I think my own way of dealing with this is actually giving the girls the skills, the
Yeah.
knowledge, empowering them, giving them the voice they now have a choice and say no, to be financially independent,
Yeah.
to know that they have a choice because they now have the knowledge and they have the know-how. Because all our youth need, especially the girls, are the tools to transform their lives and have hope. A lot of our young people don't have the hope. And a lot of our people that are in those positions to give them hope don't. So this is what defines me and my journey and what shaped what I do today. My main passions are education and health. And I believe that with technology, we can really transform the healthcare system and the education system in the Gambia.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Doctor. That's very, very insightful, and I could see how really you became what you are now, because feeling empowered at that age truly help define what you are. Thank you very much for sharing that insight with us. Kaddy, over to you.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Jorjoh. That is quite moving actually. Like if you look at the difference between you and that girl, the story that you just given, I'm sure a lot of people can resonate to that actually, because you at the early age, you were being empowered by your dad, as you said. And I really like that. I just want to bring that back on again because I had a similar journey. Although my mom's alive, but my dad played a really, really important role in who I am today. So when people are like, "Oh, you've got to have a mother figure," I don't believe in that. I believe like one parent can actually turn out to be a big influence in your life and can shape who you are today. So I guess like not everyone have that in their home, like growing up. They haven't got those kind of structures around. So you having to have that and being able to react in a similar scenario and differently to the other girl. I think the girl that you just mentioned in the story, I think it's quite important. Um, so I know you talked about INSYS, how you joined INSYS when you first started INSYS as a consultant, and then now you are CEO of INSYS. I'm not sure if you saw that coming, but um, I think what I really wanted to understand is because I know INSYS is thriving. I love INSYS, by the way. I know everyone knows I'm a big, huge fan. So it's really thriving and it's scaling. So what would you say is the driving force behind that today?
I would say running a business in Gambia is one of the hardest things ever. We have to be honest, right? But we have something that other people in other countries don't have. And these are assets. That
Yeah.
resilience and that grit that you have to have when you run a country, I mean, you run a business in Gambia. I mean, if you go anywhere else in the world, you'll be quite successful. So I think what really drives us, INSYS was founded by CD Omar Bensouda, him, myself. So our CTO is Manik Badara, and I'm the CEO. So we are the three co-founders of 𝐴friJula, and 𝐴friJula I call the QuickBooks for the African merchant. And I think what drives all of us, so we're Pan-Africans, we're all educated from abroad and returned home. We all have a shared purpose, and that is to make an impact using technology. But being willing to also sacrifice to do that for our country. So we have a team of exceptional young people. And every time, it becomes tough, and I look at these people, my young team, it just reminds me of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. They come every day and they keep pushing. You've seen them because you say, right, when you come over.
Yeah.
They're just brilliant, right? They
Yeah.
inspire me, I would say. So
Exactly.
that shared purpose that we all have, I call them you are either an insys material or you're not an insys material. What you see in Silicon Valley, those sort of people, that environment is what you will see in insys. And it feels like home to a lot of us. It's home, being with like-minded individuals, being having stimulating conversations, coming up with innovative solutions, but inclusive leadership that we have, the inclusive leadership that we have, that everybody is contributing, but not only to one solution, but to making change through the solutions that we come up with. I think that is what drives us. So the plan is to now scale Afrijula into to move to Senegal as well as other markets such as Nigeria and Ghana and Sierra Leone. Because what we find is a lot of people in Gambia, they're just coming up with technology because they like the technology or someone else is doing it. But we're solving a real problem, and that problem is financial inclusion. And we're looking at taking Afrijula to Senegal and these other countries because they have the same problems.
Yeah.
There's over a $400 billion MSME financing gap, and it's not because the lenders don't have the funds, but the problem is that the business owners don't have the financial record they need, the data that they need to help them gain access to financing. So this is the problem that we're trying to solve with Afrijula, and it's not only a Gambian problem, but it's an African problem.
So
And I think
currently, where,
that gives. Go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, no, I was just gonna ask. So currently, where is Africa? Is it only in the Gambia?
So it's currently in the Gambia. We're looking for partners in these different countries. We're also working with different firms to raise funding and investment to be able to explore these new markets.
Right. Okay.
So we received funding and support from UNCDF to be able to scale it in Gambia. It's actually the fastest growing tech startup in the Gambia, and we were able to onboard over 13,000 users, but also train around 12,000 on digital and financial literacy. Because what we also realized that in the ecosystem, you cannot just come up with a technology solution like you would do anywhere else in the world. People don't just go and download an app in Gambia. You have to
No.
now build the ecosystem, from educating people, from going out there, having that one-on-one interaction. So they funded most of our initiative in the first 2 years.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Gambia, things don't just happen just like that, especially when it comes to using technology. Like you said, you have to go out in the field, you have to train people, you have to go show them, you have to do the manual bit. It's not all about, sitting behind a desk and doing it from there. So it's still developing.
Still,
Yeah.
but also what we found is that sometimes, like INSYS had an education system over 10 years ago. So even before COVID came, everybody's talking about e-learning, but INSYS actually had this over 10 years ago. Sometimes you're innovating ahead of where your people are, right? So where the ecosystem is, so you need to build the ecosystem. So with Afrijula, we had the first loan application platform. But what happened is that when our merchants apply, so these financial services providers will ask that they also go into the brick and mortar bank because of regulations. So we had to now work with we're part of different steering group at the central bank to change regulations to allow for innovation to happen. So sometimes you're innovating, but your people, the ecosystem is not there yet. So you have to build the ecosystem and you have to do a lot of groundwork. So you have to plow through. And when you do that, you're also opening the way for other innovators to come through and also thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. And that insight on Africa, because I don't know much about Africa. I do know a lot about INSYS, though, like you said. It's home away from home for me when I come to Gambia. When I come over, I do protecting from INSYS and I collaborate with the team there. And like you said, everyone is just curious to learn. Very, very collaborative, young people. just ready to walk in and just to learn more, and they got great ideas. So it's always good to see that. I always look forward to coming back home. And one reason is because of INSEAD. Just putting it out there. Lamin?
Yeah, thank you for that insight, Dr. Jorjoh. You spoke about 𝐈𝐾𝐤 and what you're doing in the Gambia and looking to scale over to the other parts of Africa. I just wanted to take you back to INSEAD Global. I know you studied in the medical and then you work for MRC. But did you know you were going to end up in tech and also becoming the first tech CEO in the Gambia? You know, we know what the tech environment is. You mentioned Silicon Valley, fast paced. It's all about driven, innovate, create solutions that would make people's life easy, better, if that makes sense. So, did you know, number one, you're going to end up in tech and also become Gambia's first tech CEO?
So I think one of my first jobs was actually in a biometric company in the UK. And I also did, because I mean, one of my highest grades, one of my highest grades in my IGCSE was in computer science. So so I've always had a passion for tech, but I'm actually a scientist. I tell everybody I'm still a scientist and I'll always remain a scientist. But what is a scientist? And I think we need to redefine and reimagine some of what we do. A scientist is supposed to solve problems. And I feel like at this point, technology is the way that we can solve the problems and make an impact in the Gambia. I don't know where I would be in the next 10 years, but I know that I would be looking for solutions to Gambia's problems and the challenges that we have, even if it's not only Gambia, but to Africa at large. So whether I thought that I'll be in tech, for me, I had transferable skills, but also I got in tech because of my data knowledge. And this is when you talk about AI, what is AI? It's the data that makes AI. So as a data expert, but also as a scientist, I had a lot of skills that I could bring on board. But after doing a PhD, it means that you can teach yourself everything. And you have that internal locus of control, right? So if I want to do something, no one is going to stop me. If I want to learn about anything, I don't need to do a degree. I'm going to go online. I'm a continual learner. I'm going to spend a week and I'm going to come out like I had a degree. So I'm very determined, but that's because I have a purpose and I know what my purpose is. My purpose is to make a difference in the lives of our people. Is to transform our community. And however I need to do that, that's how I will do it. So it's tech right now. I don't know what it will be in the next 10 years. Inshallah.
Right, interesting. I mean, on that, still gonna plow on that tech, because I'm in tech myself. I know Gambia has a lot of problems, like you mentioned, but we can leverage technology to solve some of those problems, to provide solutions to a lot of things. Can you tell us a little bit about INSEAD Global? I know you have about 33 member of staff. How does it feel like leading a company like that? And what does actually INSEAD Global do for the Gambia and maybe the wider continent?
Sorry, you were breaking. So what is INSEAD Global doing?
Yeah, so if you could tell us a little bit about INSEAD Global, what kind of solutions you're actually providing? Because I know Gambia needs technology to create, it needs companies that will create solutions to many problems that we have in the Gambia. Technology really needs to be leveraged. So if INSEAD Global is actually in that, discipline, what is exactly, INSEAD Global doing to solve some of those problems? Yeah.
Okay. So INSEAD Global started off as a software development company, but as I mentioned, in the Gambia, our setting is very different. So we had to now evolve into not only being a software development company, but building the ecosystem. And building the ecosystem entails what? So it entails first developing solutions that fit our context.
Absolutely.
When you look at our solutions, if you look at Afrijula, for instance, like I mentioned, a lot of someone in the market now, by just entering their sales transaction, is able to gain financial data that they wouldn't have been able to gain. The financial data that they have is going to help them manage the mismatch between their income and their expenses. Already they're better off. There's an e-commerce platform that now gives them online visibility, but they can also apply for loans and grants.
Okay.
And how do we do this? So a lot of research was done. So we brought in non-literate users. We looked at how they navigate platforms. We color-coded the platform. We looked at the psychology of color. But also we put in a lot of local languages, back translated to make sure it actually makes sense. So we have Wolof, we have Mandinka on our solutions to ensure that our people can actually use our solution and it fits our context, which makes our solutions quite unique. But also we need to support the implementation of digital transformation projects to allow Gambia to leapfrog into this digital era. And how can we do that? We need to build the capacity of our people. So we're involved in a lot of digital literacy trainings, financial literacy trainings, specialized trainings when it comes to skills. We developed, like I mentioned, the first mobile application developer curriculum. Myself and Manik, we developed that in the Gambia, and it's NACA accredited. So these are ways that we're building the ecosystem. But we also realized that we needed to we need to catch the youth at a young age. So we also organize robotics competitions and support robotics clubs. We organize STEM fairs. We organize science fairs, hackathons in the Gambia to start getting our youth to be interested in the STEMs, to be creative, to be innovative, but also start looking at how to solve problems and challenges that we have as a people in Gambia. So our other solutions we have an insurance management solution. We developed the TVET Education Management Information System to inform policy in the Gambia for the Ministry of Higher Education. We developed the labor market migration information system for the Ministry of Trade, and we developed hospital management information system, and a lot more.
That's very interesting. I mean, it's good to know these things because really data, I believe in data. Data informs policy. If you don't have data, in fact, a lot of issues that we have in the country is because we do not have data. And if you don't have data, you cannot, formulate policies really to tackle some of these problems. So it looks like Insist Global is actually on that. But then one of our viewers says, it obviously relates to what is the biggest challenge doing business in the Gambia, especially in the IT industry?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge is our people. Our people would rather support foreigners than we don't believe in ourselves. Then I'm complex, Bob. We think that if you're not from somewhere else, then you're not able to do the job. They want to support foreigners rather than support their own people. Sometimes there are projects that are awarded to foreign firms when we can just bring in interns and support them from our university to implement these projects. I think that's our biggest challenge. But also if you look at Silicon Valley, a lot of these tech giants, the US government has a lot of stake in those firms and invested in it. Absolutely. If our people, but also our institutions, can invest in the private sector, I think usually they see the private sector as just a profit-making machine, rather than encouraging private sector to be socially responsible and contribute to the growth of our economy. I mean, if you look at most economies, the private sector is the engine of growth. And I think we need support. We need more public-private partnerships. We need local content laws, which forces our institutions to be able to make sure that when they're procuring, that they favor local firms. If the local firms don't have the capacity, then they should make it. They should be intentional about it and provide the support, the capacity that they need, and the tools that they need to grow. and get to where they need to get to. And I think driving entrepreneurship is the way to get Gambia out of poverty. If you look at South Korea, there's a concept known as the missing middle. What we see in low-income countries like ours is that you have a lot of micro businesses and a lot of large corporations, but very minimal number of, small, medium-sized enterprises. But in high-income countries, you have a higher number of small, medium-sized enterprises. So it's these businesses and it's entrepreneurship that will drive growth. So South Korea, if you look at, they had slums in the 1960s, and if you look at it, look at how South Korea is now. Yeah. And the research that was done in Harvard actually saw that there was that flip of the missing middle, where now they came from that slope to an upward slope. But also, like I mentioned, our people, they're not thinking about common good. Everybody's thinking about themselves. Even when it with regards to procurement, everybody wants to have, before I offer this project to you, they also want to be offered something. And that's quite challenging, especially if you're doing things the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. I mean,
Kaddy is smiling.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Thank you for providing some insight into that. I think that's really on point. So I'll hand it over to Kaddy to obviously fire some more questions at you. Thank you very much.
Jorjoh, yeah, I'm smiling because I know those are painful challenges in the Gambia, especially for the private sector. Do you currently, at the moment though, do you partner with any of the other tech companies in the Gambia in some of the projects or some of the ventures that you are currently undertaking?
Yeah, we tried. We brought like a consortium of different tech companies. Regardless, they gave it to the foreign firms. So it's a challenge. But I think, so there's a commitment with some of the ministries. Some of the ministries actually make a deliberate effort to choose local firms. So I think we need to be vocal about it and also come together to drive change. But also we need to have the right regulatory frameworks for this. So which is why I spoke about the local content law, for instance. So these legislations will help also ensure that, they promote local content.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a bit about STEM.
Okay, so STEM, I think the first time I started organizing science fairs, this was in 2019, 2020. So for the last 5 years, we've been organizing science fairs. I organized themathons. My first themathon, I organized it at CBEC International School. I remember going to the classes and I asked, do you know what STEM meant? And this is a private school. And a lot of the children said no. So I had to talk about STEM, raise the awareness. We had a competition for them. And last year, I was actually invited to be a judge. And what got me really emotional was that I don't need to tell them what STEM meant, but they have now institutionalized that STEMathon day, and they are now teaching me things that I never knew before.
Oh, wow.
Imagine if all the other schools have this opportunity. Last year as well, we organized the biggest STEM fest in Africa, the Africa STEM Fest, in partnership with GISCO, as well as STEM Africa Fest in Nigeria, the partners, STEM Meds. And the turnout was amazing. It was the biggest STEM event. These kids kept on asking, when are we having it again? We showed them that science, technology, engineering, and maths can be fun and is actually cool. And you have a lot of influencers that are showing our kids on TikTok or on YouTube other things and making them believe that it's cool. So we're here, we're nerds, we're telling them that, we're trying to influence them in a different way to get them to, and we're different types of nerds, to get them to love science, get them to love technology, to love engineering, and to love maths, but also start being creative thinkers, innovators, and solving problems.
Oh, that's great. I was gonna, just before you actually broke it down what STEM stands for, I was gonna say, well, maybe educate our viewers and ourselves, like what it stands for, because I know a lot of people are like, okay, what is STEM? But yeah, it's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Maths. Yeah.
Anyone out there who doesn't know what STEM means, that's amazing. I feel like we should bring some of those this is STEMathon. It's like hackathon, so STEMathon.
Hackathon,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we got hackathon, so STEMathon. I like the rhythm to that. I love it. That's brilliant, actually. Um, Lamin.
Yeah. So I was going to take you back again. You obviously mentioned, some of the these events that you organize, in the Gambia, Nigeria, other parts of Africa, and children, catching the children young to be interested in STEM. Um, I know Insys Global offer internships. Is this still something that you do? And are these children finding career path through tech or into tech or STEM through this internship? How popular are these, and are they actually making any impact in these children's life?
Yeah. So the internships, for one position, we get over 200 applicants
Wow,
for one position.
it's
And
popular then.
they're paid internships. They're
Yeah.
very competitive. We interview and we actually pay them. And this is our way of giving back.
No.
And a lot of the times you can employ people from outside, but we decided that we're going to employ our people from our universities. But even self-taught engineers, give them that opportunity to grow. So since Insys started, hundreds of people have passed through as interns. And some of these people currently are working in some of the world's best tech companies, Amazon, for
Wow,
instance,
that's
to name a few, Apple as well. So these people started off as interns and grew as engineers. So we have an internship development scheme that we offer. And it was mainly in the engineering department, but now we have it in the other departments as well.
Okay.
And it's actually painful when you have only one position and you have to turn back 199 other young people. And they will tell you that our youth are lazy. They're not lazy. They just don't have the opportunities. And they're looking for the opportunities to grow.
Right. So in that regard, is there any a conversation that could potentially take place between, let's say, you and the government to see you've got a private entity here that's providing these internship, into STEM or tech, and they are the products that we produce from this are going on to do well. Is there any way you can actually maybe collaborate with the government to actually allow or enable you to do not just one intern, maybe five at any time? So we can push these three children through, giving them the opportunity to actually go on and make a decent life for themselves and the community. Rather than just one having 200 applicants, why don't we make it 510? Not just Gambia University or other technical institutions in the Gambia that are government owned, but use private entities like Insys Global to allow more children to benefit through this internship.
Yes, I agree. So if you look at it, why do we have so many applicants? It's because they're looking for on-the-job training. Our education system is not hands-on, and they don't have the technical skills that they need to thrive. So they want to be in a work environment and get on-the-job training. So we partnered with the ITC and NACA. And NACA is under the Ministry of Higher Education, where the curriculum that I spoke about, which is the first industry-led curriculum, we had a pilot, and we had, I think we had around 15 trained through the pilot at the hub. And before the end of their internships, they all got employed, which shows that it's basically how our children are being taught. And we need, as industry, as employers, we need to now influence how our children are being taught so that when they graduate, they do have the required skills for industry. Now, recently, because of that 199 youth that I had to turn away, I approached the African Development Bank. So we're partnering with funding from African Development Bank. We're partnering with Mock Day to actually have specialized on-the-job training for 200 young individuals in technical skills. We're looking at AI, ML engineers. We're looking at DevOps engineers. We did a mapping to look at, okay, what does the ecosystem need? What are the career path and job roles that are required within the ecosystem? Rather than just having a degree without having the technical and vocational skills. Now we need to reimagine how we train. We need to make sure that industry is contributing to the training, but also we're looking at career path and teaching them technical vocational skills. So when they come out of it, that they're able to learn a job. And if they don't learn jobs, that they can also be entrepreneurs as well.
Yeah. That's the time. It looks like you guys are actually on the right path, doing the right thing. I think what is needed more collaboration, more partnership to actually expand this internship, because yes, it's all good to have a degree, but then having a degree and you don't have the skills to actually operate in the real world. I think learning on the job, even in the developed world, they encourage that. I think Gambia should actually try and adopt that as well. If it's adopted, maybe scale it so that it can reach a lot more youth to take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you for that. Kaddy, over to you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Jorjoh. That's quite important. That's quite important, and it's really good that you guys are able to do that skills analysis actually to be able to help those young people. So when you come out of uni, instead of just having a degree, you have a degree and a skill set to go on to a career that you've actually studied, but not just hanging around and doing nothing. Which we have seen a lot of people have degree and they haven't landed that job role that they actually studied at uni. So there's a mismatch there. So that's really good. So, Jorjoh, if you were not doing this today, what would you be doing instead?
I think I'd be a teacher or a housewife, raising the future leaders.
Really? That's all good, right?
I love being a wife. I love being a mother.
No. It's such a rewarding role, isn't it?
Yes, I was going to the village once, and I was with my friend 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿, and I looked at the village. I was like, imagine if I came from this village. She said, yes, if you came from this village, you would probably have been leading a kafu in this village. But also to mention, I forgot to mention that among the other initiatives that I do, I lead a women's group called Rice Women Network, which was founded by Ramotulai Gay. I'm the president, and the vice president is Fatuled Jallo, who's at the SOS. So we do a lot of women empowerment initiatives, but also a formal mentorship program, which has been transformational for our mentees. So it's a call to action. I know all of us are quite busy, but let's try to mentor the next generation of leaders. But also let's push for inclusion, and not only for women, but for youth. And it's necessary not only for equity, but for transformational change and for problem solving. So that's also a call to action that I want to put there. So I don't know what I would have done, but I think I would have been either a housewife or a teacher or a leader somewhere in the village. I love the village life. So maybe you need to take me to Gunjur. Gunjur is not a village, but I know.
Will have you. Gunjur welcomes you. Gunjur will have you. But yeah, so speaking
will have
of
me
that,
and teach me Mandinka as well.
Mandinka, okay.
Oh, you cannot speak Mandinka. You can't speak Mandinka, Jorjoh. Oh no.
You know that
Sumole.
kind of Mandinka problem to
I'm a Serer. Do you speak Serer?
No.
Well, my grandma's Sarah, but I cannot speak Sarah.
But yeah, no, we'll have you in Gunjur, and then you'll be able to learn Mandinka. Absolutely, we'll take a problem anytime. Gunjur will be welcome now, yeah. But then you spoke about okay, if you were not in tech, first female CEO in tech in the Gambia, you would be a housewife, or happy to just cook for your husband, which is quite nice. I wish I could have that option. But what are the challenges being, if you look at the tech industry, and not just the tech industry, but, a lot of our industries are dominated by male. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of in the
Yes.
industry are dominated by male, and then the leadership is predominantly male. Yes, we have female leaders. In particular in the Gambia, what are some of the challenges actually? Being in the midst of male CEOs, and then you're maybe just a few of you a female CEO. What are some of the challenges, and how do you navigate these challenges?
So I think within the sector, I wouldn't say I have any challenges. I think everybody's just brilliant. Everybody
Okay.
respects me and gives me the respect and honor that I deserve.
Mhm.
Um, and we learn from each other. They understand that I'm coming with a different perspective, not only because I'm a woman, but
Mhm.
also from the background that I have in
Mhm.
research, and in also data analytics as well. So I think, like I mentioned, gender parity, we have to be intentional about it. We are
Mhm.
not tokens. We are actually there to solve problems and contribute to global problem solving.
Okay.
And I think that's key. For me personally, the challenge is it's quite difficult sometimes
Mhm.
balancing, being a mother,
Yeah.
being a wife. Our
Mhm.
culture has expectations, and that doesn't change.
Mhm.
That doesn't change because I am a CEO. I go to the market because when I send
Mhm.
someone else, they don't get me what I need. I cook, I do my child's hair. Um, I have responsibilities as a mother. And also, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy taking care of my children. I enjoy helping them with their homework because I want to be there. I want to be present. I want to be that mother that I didn't have for my children. So when you
Mhm.
try to make sure that you're present, especially when you have to travel, and
Mhm.
childcare in Gambia, the nannies aren't all that reliable, as you see what happened, what as you saw what happened earlier. My
Mhm.
nanny left early, so it's quite difficult, I think, for me. But I use that difficulty or that challenge to make sure that my staff don't have to go through that. So Insys Global is the only private institution in the Gambia to have a crash
Mhm.
facility. So at this moment, sometimes when my youngest child is not feeling well, I bring her in.
Mhm.
It's just more difficult because she's 5, so she starts running around, and it's easier when it's a baby, right? But
Yeah.
we have that area now for mothers. They don't have to make a decision between staying at
Work.
home and being a mother or wife and working. Why can't they do
Mhm.
both? Why do we have to choose?
Yeah.
So if we're in that position to drive change, and it didn't take much to do, but also I'm
Mhm.
grateful to our executive director as well as our board for being
Mhm.
receptive to my type of leadership and allowing
Mhm.
me to define what that environment means for myself and my staff.
Mhm.
We have a lot of empowered women, but
Yeah.
also men that can work with empowered women. And that's
Mhm.
even more brilliant.
That is
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah. So obviously we like sometimes we've got viewers that they ask questions. So sometimes we like to throw these questions to the guests. I hope you don't mind. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got a couple of questions here from one of our viewers. If you don't mind, I know some of them are not really related to what we're discussing, but
Oh
I
my,
think
they've discovered where I am.
yeah.
Sorry, my
Hello.
child. I'm having a
That's okay. That's okay. So I've got a comment here. Obviously, you studied in the UK, you worked in the UK, and then decided to go back to the Gambia. For the reasons that you've actually mentioned in earlier on in the program. Ibrahim Ajane, who is a viewer, is actually one of the hosts of this platform, asked, what are some of the opportunities Gambia offers, especially for diaspora Gambians to come back and invest? That's one question. And then, how difficult was it easy for you to transition from the UK to the Gambia to be, obviously, become a tech leader? So those two questions, maybe if you can answer them, one that would be great.
Mhm. Sure. When it comes to opportunities that Gambia offers, especially for diaspora Gambians, I think we have to
Mhm.
create those opportunities ourselves. I think when we come back, some people come back, they feel like a red carpet needs to be rolled out for them. It's not
Mm.
happening. It's organized chaos, and
Yeah.
what you were used to is not going to be what you find here. So
Mhm.
it's sometimes you get frustrated and you're like, why am I here? I can just run away.
Go back to the comfort
But I
zone.
think
Yeah.
just making that decision that you're staying regardless of what happens, you're
Mhm.
staying, and you're going to make it work.
Mhm.
And it's difficult for me. It was difficult because I came and my husband came after we built our
Right.
house. The difficult thing is what you were paid there is not what you're
Mhm.
being paid here. That's one of
Yeah.
the main difficulties. But that peace and that joy that you wake up to every day,
Mhm.
seeing your people, that fulfillment you gain from making that difference, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Mhm.
Um, so I think it's worth it. Do your bit. Even the two of you, this show that you're doing, and so many other things that you're doing. Kaddy
Mhm.
helps us with our HR department as well. She's using
Mhm.
her skills to give back. So if you cannot come back home now for any reason,
Mhm.
a lot of the times the only people that come back are retirees when they're tired.
Mhm.
As young Gambians, I think we need to make sure that we come back. If we don't come back physically, at least we're partnering with change makers on the ground to drive
Mhm.
change. Because you can go away, you can have your passport, but you're never going to be not. There's no way you can take out that Gambian from you. You cannot take
Absolutely.
your whole family with you. So this is
Yes.
home. This will always be home, and
Mhm.
home is what you make at. And it's our responsibility to drive that change and not
Mhm.
always complain about, government is not doing this or is not doing that. But what are you doing to drive that
Doing.
change?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for that insight. I'm sure Ibrahim would have some takeaways from what you've just said. I think oftentimes we said, "Oh, I'm going to go back when I'm retired," but then what can you give, back to your country because that's where it all started. So I think this is food for thought for a lot of us who are actually here. Maybe should have gone back. Yes, there's sacrifices you can have to make. How much you get paid, the comfort that you have here, but kudos to people like you that have actually, said, you know what, forget about those things. I'm going to go back home and then contribute my quota and make a difference. Because we have to, it is the Gambians that need to develop that country. And nobody's going to come out, from nowhere and do it for us. So great, what you're doing. Thank you very much for that answer. Kaddy, over to you.
Indeed, the analogy I usually use is if you're renting a house, you've
Yeah.
left
Yeah.
your own family house and you're renting a house somewhere else and you're making
Hmm.
it nice. But at the end of the day, it's not your house. This is
Yeah.
your home. Use
Perfect.
that energy, use those resources to also contribute to your home because you always have to
Mhm.
come back home.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful, Jojo, because yeah, we do expect a lot from the government. The government cannot do everything. Yeah, and when you're abroad, when you're in the diaspora, you gain a lot of skill, gain a lot of knowledge. Give back, like you said, anyhow that you can give back. Even if you're still over here, you can still collaborate with institutions like your institution. Want to give back that way until you finally go back. Going back as a retiree, a lot of the time you'll be able to do a lot of things. But
Yeah.
hey, each to their own, right? So hopefully, like Lamin said, people will take a bit of advice from that, take away from that what you just said there, and inspire more people to start looking into ways and means to
Hmm.
come
Indeed,
back home.
Gambians are some of the most brilliant people. If
They
you go to
are,
the top institutions all over the world, they're leading
yeah,
all
Hmm.
the
yeah,
top institutions all over the world.
they
Hmm.
are,
If
they
everybody
are.
was just giving back, Gambia
Yeah.
would transform.
It'll be amazing.
100%. I agree. I agree with that. Yes. I think it's a case of mobilizing, ensuring we mobilize these experts.
Someone
Any
said that they
discipline.
go back on our behalf.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Can you
Mariam,
go back?"
Mariama Juara said you should go back on her behalf.
All right, okay.
You know,
Yeah,
I
man.
think. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
she's
think
right.
she's right.
Kaddy needs to
Kaddy
go
needs
back.
to go back. Okay, Lamin. Okay, thank you. I'll be on the next flight going. Thank you so much. So I think we'll now go on to the next part of the show, Jorjoh. And I'm just conscious that we over an hour now. This conversation has been amazing. It's been brilliant.
Sorry, I can't
Sorry,
hear
I
you.
can't hear you.
Oh, it's echoing.
Am I back on?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So we have been on for like over an hour, just conscious of time. And I know your little ones are waiting for you. So the conversation has been amazing. It's been great, very insightful. And I know we have got a lot more questions for you, but we're not going to go through everything. So we will go on to the reception and fund bit, Lamin, if you don't mind, please. So I get Lamin to kick that off. And yeah.
Yeah. So on this show, it's not all about serious. We like to understand the journey that our guest has gone through to be where you are. Because obviously, oftentimes people see you there, and they don't realize how how did you get there? What the grit you have to go through, the hard work, the discipline, the focus that you have to go through to be where you are. So we like to mix it up with a bit of fun as well. I.e., asking you, some personal questions if you like. You don't have to answer that, but yeah, we'll throw it away there anyway. So my question: how old is your oldest, child? And depending on how old they are, what advice would you give your oldest child right now? Looking at where they could potentially be. What advice would you give them? This is your own child.
Yeah. So my oldest child just turned 16. So there's this long gap. So my second child is 6. So there's this long gap because of work and education. So this is, and also as career women, these are some of the challenges that we have. So she's 16. She's about to go to college, and for me, that's difficult, right? But the advice that I've already given to her, and I will give to all young girls her age, is just like my father told me, don't forget where you come from. It's key. But believe in your inner voice. You don't have to conform to fit in. Authentic self, and don't dim your shine for anyone, especially as a young girl. Be bold. Believe. Don't. If you reach for the stars, they say, or if you reach for the galaxy, you will fall within the stars. So reach beyond the stars. And what's the worst that can happen? So be yourself. Don't forget where you come from, and be bold, and be curious. And whenever you fall down, I will be here to pick you right up and push you back to make sure that you're on track.
Absolutely.
So I'm here giving this advice, but she leaves next week. Let's hope, I can talk like that next week and not be crying because she's leaving the nest. So maybe I'll play the recording for her.
Yes, that would be nice. Lovely. Over to you, Kaddy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that is a powerful advice, Jorjoh. Yeah, hopefully when she leaves next week, you'll be able to contain your emotions. If you're going to cry, do it afterwards. Right. So what type of friends do you keep around you, Jorjoh?
So I see one of my friends making comments there.
Okay.
So the friends that I have around me are actually friends. So she's my friend from sixth form college. We're at Monarchs together. Her and Kafayed. I have friends that I have been friends with from the age of 3. So I don't really have new friends. I have very few new friends. Most of my friends, they've known me for over 30 years. And every time we're all over the world, but every time we see each other and interact, it's like we haven't even been separated at all. So these are friends that are there for each other. These are friends that I know that I can be myself with. These are friends that I know that I can confide to, but also that they'll be able to I can pick their brains when I'm going through challenges and be my authentic self with them. So thank you for being my tribe and supporting me when I needed it. But also, like I said, I have 3 sisters. So I'm very close with my sisters. Like our older sister is like our mom. She's in the States, and my other 2 sisters, they're in Gambia, and they're my friends. So we laugh together, we cry together, we go through challenges together, and we celebrate together.
Lovely. So speaking of that, I'll look at you as a very successful in what you've achieved throughout your journey. But that goes without. Often believe successful people would encounter some failures or setbacks along that journey, and how they pick themselves up to go to the next level determines whether they're going to succeed or not. What are the moments of
Sorry,
you
say that
like?
again.
So I'll say looking at you, you're successful. You could see you're successful because what you're doing, what you're able to achieve over the period. I've also believed that successful people at some point would suffer some setbacks, some failures. They'll probably fall flat, and then their success is determined how they pick themselves up. Did they pick themselves up or not? Because I often believe any successful person you see must have gone through these failures or setbacks, and they pick themselves up to be where they are. Because if they didn't, they wouldn't be successful. What are some of the moments that you come across that really are failures or in your eye or setbacks, quote unquote, and how do you really react to that to be where you are? If you can share that kind of wisdom with our viewers, especially young ones, that would be fantastic.
Yes, I think a lot of the times we just paint this rosy picture and we don't talk about challenges, and it's key to talk about challenges. I remember I went to a meeting and I was telling the girls, and I was looking at them saying it's difficult being a mother and and juggling career, and they were laughing. I'm like, no, actually, I'm being honest with you. Probably no one has actually came here and talked to you that huli botam be hollen. But it's very difficult, and we don't talk about these things. And for me, at least 3 or 4 times we had gotten funding, but it just fell through because of our environment, um, because of, it can be political stuff, it can be because of the country we're in, and it's so difficult when you work so hard to attract these funding to do the work that you're doing, not for yourself. Because I can just be somewhere else doing consultancy. The other
Yeah.
co-founders can be somewhere else just doing their consultancies. But the people, your staff, the communities that you're trying to lift, and just because of one hitch or someone making a decision or someone deciding that that money is too much for you, this young girl, why should we give it to these Gambians? That's too much money for them. Why should we give it to the private sector? Just because of that, you've lost it after working for over a year to get funding. So I think these are some of the setbacks. I remember one of them, I just had to pack my bag and I said, okay, for today, I've had it. I'm going home and I'm going to sleep. So we will all go through setbacks, but just whenever you're in that pit of despair, don't stay there for too long. Make sure that once you've recovered, that you go back up and you push harder. For me, I think what helps me is my support system. So the 2 men that I work with, so Manik and Sidi, they're my support system. I walk around, I know that I've got these two men behind me, nothing can happen to me. They support me. I have my husband who is brilliant, and he really supports me and wants to see me thrive. My father is my biggest cheerleader, right? Anything I do, he wants me to send it to him to read. And then I have my sisters that, I know that I can just go back to and just, rant about anything. And then, they'll encourage me and I'll stand back up and I'll put on my lipstick next morning and just even set my goals higher than I did before. So having that good support system, and also when you're going through those challenges, don't stay there for too long. You cannot just stay home and mop all month, right? Okay, you can mop for an hour or two and then wake up next day and push. I believe in one thing: God will not make us put all this effort and let it go to vain. All the efforts that we're putting in, one day we will reap the rewards. So having that faith, and that blind faith sometimes also sees you through.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing that. I'm sure I've learned a lot from that, and I'm sure our viewers would do as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kaddy?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Jorjoh, on that. Like, we all do have moments of doubt, failures, and when you find yourself in that, embrace the emotions, but then come out of it as soon as you can. Because the longer you stay there, that's what leads a lot of people into depression and all the stuff. So Jorjoh, a bit of fun now, more fun than the questions that Lamin is asking you actually. So, right. So, beach or city?
Beach. Every time my husband asks me where should we go on a date, I say the beach. Why you tell me beach gudi tambahut? Suñu fa jine yi fekke. I love the beach. I'm like, okay, we can buy food, be in the car. I just want to look at the ocean. It gives me peace.
The calm. Yeah, the sound of the waves, that calmness. Oh, that's so cool. I think I'm so greedy. I'll say both. Tea or coffee?
Well, I used to drink tea a lot in the UK. I don't drink tea much in the Gambia, but tea over coffee. I don't drink coffee at all.
Okay. Cool. Well, I love coffee. But I love tea as well. So I'm very greedy. See. So a spa date with your girls or meal. Be careful how you answer this because like you said, your girls are watching you, your friends are watching you. So a spa date with your girls or a meal with your husband?
Definitely meal with my husband. My girls will understand.
That's the right answer.
When you're really busy at work, but also at home with the kids, you just need that quiet time between yourself and your spouse. It's very rare to have it. So till they get older, I mean, having that time with him is invaluable right now. My girls will understand.
Okay, girlfriend.
But shout out to Nyanya Dabo. She took me to the spa last year and it was fun.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So, Jorjoh, obviously we're running out of time, but I'd like to ask if you've got any personal goals that you're going to be working on that you could probably share with us.
So, any personal goals, I would say, for me, like I mentioned, I don't know where I'll be in 10 years. I think, when I talked about all those fundings that I wasn't able to secure, or I secured and then it wasn't given, it was to start an innovation and entrepreneurship center. That's a personal goal for me. And when I said that I was supposed to do my fellowship, I had an inflection point. Also, one of the other reasons why I stayed was because we got approved funding to start this. So this is what I had really wanted to do from the onset. But I haven't been able to do because we weren't able to secure funding. But not getting that funding, and I've looked ways to still be able to drive innovation and entrepreneurship in our communities. Another personal goal I would say is just with my first child, be more present with the younger ones as I was with my first child, to be able to also raise them to be a good human being like she is currently today. When it was time to go to college, I said, okay, now this is a challenge for me because it means I may have to leave to be able to send her. But also I challenge her. I challenge her to work hard so that she'll also be able to secure some funding to be in some of the best institutions in the world. So I'm challenging myself to be able to raise these other two girls to be her or better her, inshallah. For me, that's a person.
Lovely. So I think one more question from me is, before I obviously hand you over to Kaddy, is do you have a hobby or interest that you have that actually, when you say it, may surprise your friends? So do you have a hobby?
Sorry, say that again. I missed.
Do you have an interest or hobby that if you mention it, it may surprise your friends?
That I play basketball. Somebody definitely up you grow.
Okay, so Kaddy, do you know that she plays
I know,
basketball?
I don't actually know that, but I think her friends, but people, her friends watching, some of them might know that.
Right.
Does any of your friends know that you play basketball?
Yes. And I'll send you a video, Kaddy. I was in my dress and heels.
Oh wow! Okay,
Interesting.
that is interesting, Jorjoh. Right, send me that, please. I want to watch that. I want to see that.
Another one is I'm a Toastmaster. I love being a Toastmaster, and I'm part of the Gambia Elite Toastmaster. I'm the vice president of membership, so it's a beautiful community of part. There's no other place I'd rather be on a Friday evening than to be with my Toastmasters.
Oh no! Oh nice. We know where to find you on a Friday evening then.
Yes.
Right, and over to you, Kaddy.
Yeah. Just couple of more questions, Jorjoh, and we will hopefully bring it to a wrap. It's been an amazing conversation, like I said earlier on. You're doing amazing, successful woman, career-wise, a mother, everything, anything that you can imagine, like the perfect woman to be. You've got it all. Alhamdulillah, that is amazing, and it's very inspiring. I'm sure that a lot of young Gambians look at you and they wanna be you one day. They wanna reach where you are today, or even surpass that. And I'm sure you want that as well. You do mentor as well quite a lot of young people. I've seen it. You do encourage young people to be their authentic self, to have the confidence, have the voice, to be curious. I've seen you work. I've been in Insys Global many times, and I've seen how you are as a leader is amazing. It's inspiring. How do you envision your legacy to be?
I think so. Thank you for those kind words, and I throw them right back at you. You're really amazing, and there are times that I've also reached out to you just to provide advice when it comes to HR issues. So thank you for that, and the support that you've been providing and the mentorship to some of our staff. For me, then there was Sufi MS Muneh. I think when I first joined Insys, what I said was I wanted to make an impact. And I don't think that's, if we have trained more than 100 people in Insys with the technical skills, we have trained over 13,000 within our communities. We have developed solutions that are transforming lives, but also the women groups that I am part of. Because of my action or just being, some of these girls can dream and have hope for the future, or have secured jobs, or are able to start businesses. For me, I think that is enough. But also I think what I have done is rewritten the leadership models. We've reimagined and recreated our own leadership model that we can be as women leaders. We can be women leaders, but be kind, have empathy, and lead through compassion and authenticity. I'm not trying to look like a man. I'm not trying to act like a man, and I'm just being myself. And hopefully this will open the doors for many other women. And mentoring as part of the Women in Leadership Mentorship Program as well. These girls are the future. And hearing them talk about their experience and how we have impacted them, I think for me is fulfilling. And lastly is one of my mentees went for a competition and their team, was a robotics competition, was not doing well. But she went to her teacher and said, I cannot go back home and not take the prize because of Auntie Jorjoh. She went back and she won. So just that is enough.
That is,
and I hope that other leaders as well and other people that are in those positions can lift other girls and women and the youth and give them that hope that they need and the platforms and the tools that they need. Being able to create a crash facility in the Gambia, where now when we come in, we see women with babies coming to work and being able to achieve and grow within their career. That's enough. What I am calling for is I want to catalyze a new narrative. We need to move away from aid to innovation. We need to move away from survival to strategy. And this is a call to action for everyone.
Awesome, amazing. Those are powerful, powerful words. And thank you again, and thank you for your kind words to me as well. So I have to, but those are that's really powerful, Jorjoh. And the call to action as well. Hopefully, everyone watching us today will be able to take one or two things away from that, and the young people that are watching as well may take some tips away from that as well in terms of like career aspiration or what they want to do in the future. So I was going to use that as your final words, Jorjoh, but what's your one final word before we wrap up, please?
I think my final words I'd want to say in Wolof.
Absolutely.
Gambia, we have a thing, we say 𝐿𝐴𝐻 𝐵𝐻𝐿. And even if it's one person that's there, we say 𝐿𝐴𝐻 𝐵𝐻𝐿.
Yeah.
And that means that for me to be at peace, everybody else around me has to be at peace, or as many people around me have to be at peace. Let's move away from just looking at our own good, but also using our privilege and knowledge to better ourselves or our families alone. We are a collective. All our scriptures talk about loving your neighbor. Let's lift each other. Ubuntu, as they say. 𝐴𝐻, as they say. We always talk in the plural because everybody else has to be better off because of you. And let's strive for that. That's what I would say. And thank you for having me as well. It's been such a pleasure having this conversation with both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Jorjoh. That's amazing. Just one last thing. What's your favorite song? Can you hear me?
No, sorry.
I said just one last thing. What's your favorite song?
So what's the last question?
Your favorite song. What is your favorite song before you go? We want to know what your favorite song.
My favorite song at the moment, I know I want to say Brown Skin Girl or something because it's empowering, but it's actually Aras. So as much as, I'm a different type of feminist, right? I think feminism for me is different. I'm a lover. So Aras, if you're listening, check it. Ash is the best, I think, is the singer, Aras.
All right. Okay, I'll check it out. Cool. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Jorjoh. Thank you. Thank you for coming on board with us this evening and spending your evening with us. I know you had childcare issues earlier with your nanny going, but you still managed to find time to have this conversation with us. We've interacted with the viewers. There are questions that you answered back to them as well. Thank you so much for that. And it's been so insightful as well to learn about your journey, your childhood, from where you started and where you are today. And even some of the challenges that you faced and how you overcome some of those. So again, thank you for sharing those with us. And some powerful words that you've mentioned: look around you, lift the people around you, be inclusive. You are such an inclusive leader. I think if leaders in the Gambia or around the world, if anyone take inspiration from that, that's one thing, like being inclusive and being empathetic, which I know you are. Mentorship as well. Hopefully we get a lot of other institutions look into that and start supporting that. Internships, like you said, you guys cannot do it all. You know, you have to turn away 199 people who applied. So maybe again, institutions and the government, like Lamin said earlier, can come together and collaborate a bit more to support those avenues. So thank you. Lamin, I think it's a wrap. I'll hand it over to you. Viewers, thank you so much. I hope you guys did manage to learn one or two things from tonight's episode. It's gone over an hour. That's because the conversation has been so interesting and very, very empowering as well. So I'll see you in episode 5. I'll hand over to Lamin. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jorjoh Ndure-Tambedou. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the profile show with Lamin and Kaddy on Gunjur Online TV. The conversation has been amazing. I've learned quite a lot, and I believe the target, the younger one, the children that are growing up, watching this, hopefully now or later, would learn a few things from your story, how it started, having lost your mother at 7 years old, and then your father taking over the responsibility of being a mother and a father at the same time. And here you are, the first female CEO in the Gambia, so a tech CEO in the Gambia. So that's not a small thing, but it didn't happen overnight. It happened through hard work, discipline, focus. Obviously having setbacks and then overcoming them to be where you are. To our viewers, thank you very much for sticking with us. You've been with us for the last 1.5 hours. That's not easy. We appreciate you following us, sharing and liking this program. Please do share. The wisdom that we've actually all, come across here may benefit 1 or 2 people if we share far and wide. On that note, I'd like to thank my producer, Abu Bakar, who is producing the show for us tonight. My co-host, Kaddy, or Kaddy. She doesn't like me saying Kaddy. Kaddy, thank you very much for being a wonderful co-host. And hopefully, we'll see you in the next episode, episode 4 of the profile show with Lamin and Kaddy. Goodbye and have a good, lovely evening or night or wherever you might be in the world. And Doctor, thank you very much for being our guest tonight.
Thank you. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.